everybody, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, hello, and if you're coming back, thank you. So today is going to be a little bit of a different topic than I usually cover. If you're new here, I usually talk about JBeauty, but today I want to talk about how I lost over 30 kilograms. Hold up, in American, I'm sorry, I'm an ignorant American, but do other places aside from America use pounds? Cause hold up, I lost like 34, so that's like 74 pounds that I lost in weight. But yeah, because I usually talk about skincare and the skin, I'm going to talk about how the weight loss affected my skin. So basically, I've always been chunky. As a kid, I was a chunky kid, I was a chunky teenager, and then I ended up being a chunky adult. And I lost weight in like my late teens, as I mentioned before, and this is, I guess, where we're going to get immediately into the, and I suffered for that for like 10 years or so, give or take around 10 years. And so then, long story short, because I actually do have a story where I talk about, it's a story about my order, but it's also actually my testimony about how I became Christian. That's on here. It's in Japanese, but it does have English subtitles. But yeah, you can check it out if you want the full story there. But long story short, thank you, Jesus. But yeah, so why am I talking about this now, and especially on this beauty channel? So because last year, and this is, when I say God is cray cray, I mean God is correct. So there's actually this diet show. This is so crazy. But there's actually this diet show on YouTube, and it's by a Japanese hairdresser, and then he works in combination with this company called My Body Labo, or My Body Labo. I don't know which one it is in English, but yeah, they're a personal training company, and then they have people apply online, and then the people who get picked, then they get, for a certain period of time, they work with the personal trainer in order to lose weight over that time. And so I applied and I got it. Like, what? I'd actually applied earlier last year, and the first time I didn't get it, and I applied the second time. I was like, if I don't get it the second time, then that's fine, it's just not for me. And I applied the second time and I actually got it, and I'm like, what in the world? And then they told me, they were like, because my weight, that I had, you know, so much weight, or I was at such a high weight, they were like, well, we want to do it for the year, what do you think, would you be able to do it for the year? And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I had my hesitations because I would want to go back to visit my family, but if I was doing this program for the year, I wouldn't be able to do it. But I was like, you know what, this is kind of like a once in a lifetime opportunity, so let's go. And at the end of the year, they would do like a makeover. Essentially, it's called Cinderella wa Doreku Suru, or Cinderella Makes an Effort. So yeah, so that's what I had been doing. So I'm sure if you've been watching the video, like, over time, you might have seen like, oh, like, she's kind of losing weight. And that's what it was, is that essentially I was on that program. So if, for anyone who is curious on how I lost the weight, basically calorie deficit and exercise. That's it. And then over the course of the year, I stuck to that and working out, and then I was able to lose, again, like 30. When I started the program, I was like, I think 100 kilograms when I was in their scale, but the largest weight, or the highest weight that I was at last year, was 104 kilograms, which was like 229 pounds. And so now I'm down, yeah, so I got down to like 70 kilograms, which is 154 pounds. And now I'm around like 70, 71, 72, you know, depending on like if I'm on my period or not, things like that, you know, just like women, we tend to fluctuate a lot. So yeah, I try not to think about it so much about like, oh my gosh, the number, like this or that. It's like, how do my clothes fit and stuff, like, how do I feel, and, you know, just that, making sure that I'm being more active and things like that. So that is all super long back lore of Laura kind of situation. But on this channel, again, one of my main concerns is my skin. So how did this affect my skin? Okay, and so now let's step away, I guess, from the trigger warning territory to maybe being overly critical trigger warning territory. So yes, I am going to be a little bit probably overly critical, but yeah, like I really enjoy learning about the skin and learning about how it functions, but also I observe my skin a lot and I see like, what does it do, how does it change over time, have there been any changes? So I am going to be a little bit overly critical. I don't think that this is like something that you should just like, don't pull out the 10x mirror and start looking and be like, oh my gosh, like, let's not do that. That's probably not the best. But just saying that if I were to tell you that I'm like I'm just like, oh yeah, whatever, like, I also think that that would not be the truth. So I'm just trying to be honest. So yeah, these are just observations that I've made, and I'm just going to share them with y'all. So what I would say is that overall, my face looks both simultaneously less youthful and more youthful at the same time. And what I mean is, for example, looking at these pics, like I actually sometimes will watch some of my older videos and I look and I was like, oh my gosh, my skin was like so beautiful. So like, for example, like this video or in this video here, which is my skin was literally, it was more full because it had more fat in the face. But it's more full and therefore my skin was more stretched out. So think of it as like a balloon. Like the balloon, the skin itself will like stretch, and so you hold that shape as long as the air is inside, but then over time the air leaves and then you'll have like the elasticity of the balloon has become, you know, kind of weakened because it no longer has the structure, the inside, that air to hold that face. You feel me? So it's not to that degree, I would say, but definitely I do notice when a couple of months after I started losing weight, I would move my skin and I was like, wow, this feels really different than when I had more weight. So that is something that I think I've seen other people, maybe not mention to this degree, that I think I've seen other people talk about that as well. And even, I don't know if y'all remember, but aside from like just medical reasons for not doing so, there were people who were warning against getting the buccal fat removal. I think it was like fat, like there's like a fat little pocket here that people were getting removed prematurely because they wanted that like snatched look. And again, aside from medical reasons, people were just like, doing that will actually just make you look older, because as we get older we tend to lose a lot of things, and one of those is you lose like bone mass, so that helps to add to that look of like just like sagginess and just kind of like more like there's less bone mass for your face to hold onto. It's gonna look a little bit more saggy. You also tend to lose fat as we get older, like the volume of fat in like areas like here and stuff. Those tend to keep us looking more youthful. That's why people who have like are younger, they have like that baby fat, they tend to look more youthful. It's because of that. So it's not like, you know, like fat is like this enemy, like, oh, we need to get rid of all of it on our face. It does help give to a more youthful appearance. So I looked it up and like WebMD gave some I thought these were some pretty good examples. So for example, like the skin, it's like a rubber band that it gives until it can't give anymore. You know, like when you pull a rubber band and then you can, you know, pull it a couple times and it kind of bounces back, but then after pulling it too many times or pulling it too wide, then it just like doesn't snap back the same way. It's kind of like that our skin can get to that level, and I would definitely say my skin to a certain degree has been affected by just the amount of mass that I had before and the level that it was stretched out to. And so this will vary though, obviously, on our age, our genetics, and how quickly you lost the weight, and I would say how long you have been at that, you know, like weight for. So for me, I think it had been a couple of years. It'd been around like, I don't know, 80-90 kilograms for a couple of years, but I would definitely say the past 2 years since I moved to my current apartment now, because I just like don't move a lot. I just stopped kind of really moving, and I would just order a lot of like pizza and curry, which is delicious, and it's fine completely to have every once in a while in moderation, but it was definitely not moderation. It was like every other day. Like the curry delivery guy and I were this close to get on talking terms. But anyway, so those are all, I think, the effects that I experienced with my weight gain and my weight loss with regards to my skin. And I'm not just talking about like the positives of like my quality of life went up and like all of things like that. My clothes are better and I have more confidence. So now we can talk about other things and how I maintain my skin health and how I'm trying to regain some of the elasticity and some of the collagen. And I don't know necessarily that collagen was lost in the process, but definitely just, you know, having that mass get taken away and now my face having to deal with that, helping to try and build as much collagen as possible for the future. So I actually made a video before about how I was able to essentially even on my skin tone and like just look more youthful, I would say, in the skin department. That whole video there, and I'm gonna repeat a lot of things that I said there, but number one would definitely be in terms of like skincare stuff, retinoids, topical retinoids. So I have used tretinoin, which there's different essentially tiers to retinoids, and tretinoin is like the highest level, although apparently tretinoin now they have like, I've made the Pokemon comparison before, but yeah, now they have like different, like it's like tarazatone or something. I don't know, it's like they call it like the 3rd generation tretinoin, and I'm like, it sounds really fascinating, and I do know a site online where you could get it, but I'm a little bit hesitant. I'm not gonna lie, I'm like, I got some questions, but it seems very interesting. But anyway, I have used tretinoin before. Right now I'm not using tretinoin, I'm using retin now, which is like closer to tretinoin than retinol, which is what you can get in most drugstore products. But yeah, I have used all of those before, and I would definitely say that that helped my skin out a lot. Not just in terms of elasticity, but also in just improving the, you know, what is it called? The hyperpigmentation, cell turnover, so I don't have as much uneven skin tone. Also, sunscreen. 98% of the time, I use sunscreen. I say 98% of the time because I do be slipping sometimes. I really, oh no, I slipped. It's life. It's fine. Also, this is very extreme, and I do not recommend because we need vitamin D, but I'm not gonna lie, okay? I'm gonna be truthful. I don't open my windows unless I put on sunscreen. And some days I won't open my windows. So that's just, you know, it's a me thing. It's a me. Do I recommend? No, I don't recommend this. Do as I say, not as I do. But although now recently I've been trying to like run in the morning, because actually that I had not put that into my notes, but this is something that legitimately you're getting the hottest, the latest information. Okay, what I've noticed is that recently I was like, oh, my skin looks kind of like dull, like it's not feeling too great. But remember how I told you that that diet program was for like a year? Well, it ended in July 1st was the day that it ended, and that was the day that we filmed, and that was the day that they like did my hair, and that video should be coming out maybe, I don't know, in the next couple of weeks. When it does, I'll link it down below so you can watch it if you want. The video is going to be in Japanese, but I do believe that they might have English subtitles. But yeah, essentially after that finished, then I'm not gonna lie, I did get a little bit loosey-goosey, and I have been ordering a little bit more curry because it's delicious. But I also haven't been exercising as much, and I noticed that my skin was kind of, I was like, oh, I feel like, what's going on? Like my skin feels a little bit like it doesn't have like that, like, you know, like that, I don't know, that je ne sais quoi, that it had before. And then I went running one day because I was like, oh, let me try and get back into it. And I came home, and then the next day I was like, well, my skin looks great. So I think not just running, it doesn't have to be running, but something that helps increase your blood, what is it called, your heart rate, because it'll get your blood flowing, and getting your blood flowing will help the nutrients and stuff get to your skin. So I would recommend definitely doing some kind of yusanso undo or aerobic exercise. I hadn't written that down on the script, but I just remembered right now, and I would definitely recommend that. And also, again, sunscreen. But yeah, so like 98% of the time. But recently, that's what I was gonna say, is that I've been trying to like go out running, so I'll put on sunscreen before, like whatever it is, the crust of the night is gonna stay on my face, and I'm gonna put the sunscreen on, and then I'll go like 30 minutes or something, come back, and then I'll wash my face with a cleanser, and then I'll go, not like a harsh cleanser, but I'll wash my face with a cleanser, and then do my regular morning routine, and I'll put sunscreen on again. So yeah, sunscreen 98% of the time. Reapply sunscreen if you can. And honestly, like reapplying sunscreen over makeup, like in Japan, it's to the point where one of the Japanese dermatologists, I'm not gonna say who again because Japanese defamation laws, but she said it. I'm just saying, if you've seen this channel, you might already know who it is. I'm just saying. So bro, she was like, isn't it impossible to just reapply sunscreen? I was like, wow, a dermatologist is saying this. So yeah, it is quite difficult. So yeah, if you can reapply sunscreen, like usually for me, I'll reapply sunscreen if I don't have makeup on, because I don't have makeup on, and then I'll just reapply sunscreen. Otherwise, what I do is, so some things that I like to use is this Juicy Pang. It's a clear sun stick, and there's a video by Michelle Wong where she goes into details, like she really deep dives into like sun sticks and how like you need at least like, I think it was like 72, it was some kind of ridiculous number that you would need to get the SPF 50 cover you need to go over in order to do that. And like, I understand, but I am of the camp of something is better than nothing, so I just rub it on and then I go and get on with my life. And generally speaking, usually I will have a higasa or a sun umbrella. And especially in Japan, I don't know where y'all live. I'm from Miami, and Miami's hot, but like when people ask me, they're like, which is hotter, Japan or Miami? And I'm like, actually, well, I think Japan, what is it called? Because they have seasons, when it becomes summer, it becomes maybe even hotter than Miami. But one of the biggest differences is that in Miami, you'll be in your house, you'll get outside for like, 30 seconds, and then you'll get in your air-conditioned car, you'll go to where your destination is, you'll go inside there. So like the distance between the parking lot, like that's when you're exposed to the sun. You go inside, you come back out, you see what I'm saying? So you're not as exposed to the sun as you are here. You're walking, your Chevrolet is your method of transportation, so you're gonna be exposed to the elements. If you're coming to Japan, anyone that leaves me comments that they're coming to Japan in the summer, I'm always like, stay hydrated. Also get a sun umbrella because it is disgustingly hot out here. So I would 100% getting a sun umbrella. Not only will it protect you from the heat, it'll also protect you from the sun rays. So definitely 10 out of 10. Sunscreen, sun umbrella. I reapply with this stick, and I also got this. This is from Benton. In Korean, you'd say Bentun, I guess. But in Japanese, I believe it's called Benton. And it's just a regular, oh, I don't have the puff because I need to clean it, but it's just a sun cushion. Okay, and so yeah, it's nice because here is basically the sunscreen is here. Would I recommend you DIY doing this? No, because sunscreens, this is formulated specifically so that it has its own preservative system to work out with the germs and stuff when you put this on your face. So I trust this, and I would, you go in with a cushion puff and then put that over. And what's nice about this one is that it is a chemical one, so it does not leave a white cast when I put it on. But there are a lot of mineral ones in Korea, especially. They really like the tone up effect, just making you look a lot lighter. So that is something to look for. But this particular Benton one, this one does. I was specifically looking for something that was only chemical, and I found it, and I really like it. It's very nice, and it was pretty affordable on Q10. I think I got it during the sale, so it was a little bit cheaper. So yeah, this is something else that I use to protect my skin because I don't want the collagen that's in here to get any more destroyed than it needs to be. And yeah, if you have any kind of sun protective hats are a little bit difficult when you have hair like mine, just because it'll get snagged on depending on the type of hat. And then like you see any kind of volume that I have, then it'll just be like, this will be really flat, but then this will be really poofy. It's kind of like, it's a heartache. So I would 10 out of 10 recommend a higasa. Okay, and then next section is definitely other things that helped my skin and help maintain my skin health is kintore, which I also mentioned in that other video earlier, because as I would like to say, kintore wa sukintore. So yeah, like even this WebMD article that I read, it says that, what is it called? Muscle helps to fill out. So when you lose weight, right, you're going to have like loose skin. And so muscle helps to fill out, just to fill out that skin. So again, depending on your genetics, you might have more, you might have less loose skin, also depending on how much weight it is that you lost. So that's like in terms of like your body mostly. But then even with your face, there was an article that, so I actually, and I'd mentioned this, I believe in this video as well, there's this creator on TikTok, his name is Aviva Carter, I believe. He talked about this research that came out that said that when you doing musanso undo, musanso is no oxygen exercise or anaerobic exercise, and that is like kintore, like resistance exercise. So essentially the research showed that doing resistance training helped to increase the dermis. So the layers of our skin, you have 3 layers, and you have the topmost layer is the epidermis, and the middle layer is the dermis, and that's where you have your collagen and your elastin, that structure that really gives you that firminess and that bounciness. Long story short, the group, they did a test of 2 groups, and there was one group that did only yusanso undo or aerobic exercise. They didn't show an increase in the dermis, the thickness of the dermis, but the exercise group that did resistance training, they did show an increase in the thickness of the dermis. Again, remember that dermis is that layer that gives us that firminess and that bounciness. So that helps with, if you have a thicker, more robust middle layer, then that should give, I think, more structure to your face, just give you more firminess looking to your face. And so for me personally, from my experience, it's funny because I tried to join a running group one time, but I hate running because I'm like, what are you running from? Like that meme.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Like, what is the point? But the thing is, people who run, legitimately, their faces are always glowing. And I'm sure it's because they just got really good blood flow. But then people who train, they also just have really like nice, beautiful cheeks. Like they just, so like if you want the best of both worlds, do both. Definitely do aerobic exercise and anaerobic exercise, or do resistance training and do cardio at your own pace. And I think that will help you in your skincare game. It's more of a holistic approach versus just slapping stuff on your face, which obviously that works to a degree, but like we're trying to be your best, you know what I'm saying? Another thing that I would say helps me manage not just my skin but also just my health overall is stress reduction. And I feel like as gendaijin, or as people who live in the modern day and age, that's really difficult. But things that help me personally is I hang out with my friends. Thank you, Jesus, that I have friends to hang out with. So, we'll hang out, we'll chill, we'll go, and we'll eat something that if my trainer had seen that, he wouldn't have been really happy. But that's fine, because I'm not on the program no more. But yeah, just hanging out with your friends, just laughing and chilling. That's all good stuff. And then also rest. And then for me personally, I rest on the Sabbath. So from Friday evening to Saturday evening, I don't do anything work related. And I mean both like the work that actually makes me money for the company that I work here, but I also don't do any be your best work at all. And as much as when I tell you that I love cosmetics and it is an obsession, and maybe it's too much of an obsession and I'm like, I don't know about that, like, you know, but I try just to avoid it at all. Like, and actually I remember, it's really funny because before I was doing be your best, I actually also, fun fact, I play the viola. It's in between the violin and the cello, and so I follow ThatVioliaKid, and I actually met him one time in Tokyo. Anyway, so I remember that he told me that he would, not he told me personally, he had made this video where he said that he takes a day where he just does not play the viola, and he just puts it down because it really, you know, refreshes you and it gives you that reset. And so for me on the Sabbath, I mean, it would be nice if I went to church, but usually, I'm not gonna lie, usually I'm just like sleeping in bed, lazing around. If I go to church, that'd be great. If I don't go to church, okay. But just the important thing is just to rest and just to not do anything work related. I think it's really easy like to get into that hustle culture and like you need to work 24/7, and yeah, you know, you gotta do this and you gotta do that. But I'm like, we're not machines, bro. We were not made to just work all the time. So 100%, I would definitely say that that helps with my stress reduction, and stress reduction translates to healthier skin. I would say, not just in my case, I think that this would probably help out other people as well. So just, you know, if you can do it as much as possible, I would implement that. And yeah, doing things that you like also helps to reduce your stress. So sometimes at the gym, I dance. Sometimes I dance in between sets. And you know, and like, I'm not gonna lie, whether these people are actually looking at me in the gym or not, I don't know how it would be in the States, but in Japan, I feel like, you know, it's like, oh no, she's dancing again. But like, if they're looking or not, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm there to have a good time, and I'm also like burning some extra calories in between my sets. So I'd be dancing in the sets. I also have a place where I can go and you just get a little groove on. So I'll go do that, and that helps release stress. And well, I also love walking the city. Maybe don't sit like a gremlin like me, like I'm over here just like hunched over. Probably, you know, that'll help with like blood flow and stuff like that. I'm sorry, I just realized right now. But yeah, so like walking the city, just walking in general is a really good way to help reduce stress. And like, I believe I saw this video where, you know, just like going out into like nature, and it's like really relaxing and refreshing. And like, why do I sound like I don't believe it? It's just because I'm a city person and I hate bugs with all my heart. So I really love the city, and I love the concrete jungle. But like, genuinely, truly, yeah, just go outside in nature every once in a while. Go look at some green. Don't get too close though, because something might come at you, especially in Japan. There's a reason why Pokemon is a thing here, okay? Because the bugs here are ridiculous. But yeah, walking the city, visiting some of your favorite places, and then yeah, so I'm not great at viola, but sometimes I do play the viola. I bust it out and play, and then sometimes I'll go to karaoke. Just, I don't know, sing in your car, sing by yourself, or just sing in a crowd. Why not? You know, study something that you might like to do, and just take your mind off of the worries of everything, because there's a lot to worry about. But yeah, so that's basically it on what it is about, I guess, my history eating and then dieting, and how it affected my skin, and then things that I do to help maintain my skin health until now. Very long video, but I don't know, what did y'all think? If anyone has lost weight and you've noticed any changes in your skin, I would really love to hear your story down below. I don't have people around me that I have talked to about this. The only people who know that I've been on the diet program is like anyone that I would come in contact with that I would go out and eat, and it's like, I can't eat that because I'm on this diet. But other than that, like, it would just be like my family, my friends, and now I guess the whole world. And when that video comes out, then those people will know too. But other than that, I don't really have anyone that I talk to. But yeah, so if you have experienced changes in your skin, either because of like weight loss or weight gain, then yeah, I would really appreciate it if you could share what it is that you do to manage that down below. Or if you had any thoughts about this video, yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much again for everything. Remember, Jesus loves you. I may or may not leave that in, I'm not sure. But yeah, so as always, hope you have a good day. Remember, God bless me, always!